I saw my own solar system. I was inventing my own cosmology, like through patterns of holes in the base of a room. I found one in the exact shape of the W of this constellation Cassiopeia, and photographed it, and it was like looking at a rusty planet surface within its black sky, this constellation. And I found planets, and it was just like being an adventurer, discovering undiscovered country, except it was this micro world in a way, my own metal box. A lot of my work as an artist has taken me to abandoned places. I've been to other abandoned landscapes and abandoned forts, landscapes that are semi-abandoned, like the edges of towns, where nature meets city, that kind of thing. And I think there's something really interesting about landscapes where people have been and are no longer there, where there's a sort of human presence but it's gone. And there's something I find intriguing about how nature reclaims places like that. And indeed, then, the places we consider abandoned and neglected are only abandoned and neglected from a human perspective. And they are absolute, fantastic residences for all hosts of other creatures. And so there's something in that as well about whose place is it, which interests me. Isolation, never felt isolated. Solitary, yes, there's this difference between a kind of isolation which can be bad and depressing, and solitude, which is something you seek and which can be enhancing and revealing. It can reveal things. I found myself thinking about things I hadn't thought about for a very long time. Childhood, to some extent. And one of my earliest memories as a kid was aged about 5. We used to live in a place called Dewsbury in West Yorkshire, in a kind of part of town long demolished. It was sort of kind of the slum clearances of the 1970s, 60s and 70s. They demolished all these terrace streets, back-to-back houses. I just started to remember that at the age of 5 and 6, I used to go off by myself with a camera and explore all these empty houses. And I made a den in the attic of one of them, and they were all connected together. You could go up into one house at one end of the street and walk through the attics and come down in another house, another empty house at the other end of the street. And you'd find things people had left behind. They'd left photographs and furniture and things. And I had a little collection of things I found in there. And I hadn't thought about any of that until I was marooned in Shivering Sands fort. And so I started to wonder about where one's character comes from and how it's formed, and whether you learn, is what you do and what you are the product of what you've experienced and learned, or is there something innate in each of us that is our character, that we are who we are. We're sort of formed in some respects from the day we are born to want to do certain kind of things. And I think there's part of me just enjoys going off alone and exploring and kind of making a record. They deserve to be preserved as sort of national heritage monuments. On the other hand, nothing's forever. My own experience tells me everything changes, and part of the beauty of the forts and of everything is its change, and that change in decay, and that slow reclamation of things made by people. the most brilliant engineered things of the time that we could make, the strongest things, no matter how strong, even like a pyramid in Egypt, will eventually turn to dust, or rust in this case, and will be reclaimed by the sea. And I think, in a sense, maybe that's what should happen, and the beauty of the forts lies in the fact that they've got stories to tell, and there are people who can tell the stories that go on beyond and are greater than the physical structures. I suppose the broad question is why people should care about their surroundings and the world, why how people should understand themselves, and you can do that through looking at specific instances. There are personal stories to tell about the sea forts, which and maybe society is just a collection of thousands of personal stories. So there's a moment when subjective things become really important data. Qualitative becomes quantitative in a way, and important to record and remember for everybody's what history is for. It's to help define history, helps define who we are now and who we might want to become tomorrow. So it's important to remember all these things from the edge.